Hi, my wise astrology tribe. Cosmic Inside Astrology. I am your co-pilot, Christina. All right, so I'm late with this video because today I'm going to analyze the Virgo solar eclipse actually, and we still in Virgo and Pisces activity, and the eclipse is happening in Pisces and Virgo. September 7th, we had the lunar eclipse in Pisces, and I told you guys what kind of possible way it's going to unfold. We're going to see a lot of flood, not necessarily only tsunamis or hurricanes, but obviously it could be flash flood as well. And what it is going to do with the pharmaceuticals and also with oh my God, the big pharma, and it's the war on drugs as well, obviously. And that's what's happening with US and Venezuela. I mean, at least that's what the recent administration says about Venezuela. Truly, deeply, we all understand what's going on over here because Neptune also rules oil, and Venezuela has 60% of the very thick oil underneath, and also they have precious stones like emerald as well and gold, right? So we know that. On the other hand, right now we're going to have a solar eclipse, which is more positive. However, the last eclipse, the lunar eclipse, was trining with Jupiter, which is a saving grace over there, right? And also with Sirius, which is the dog star in Cancer, and it's very, very positive. But right now, this solar eclipse, which usually is supposed to turn out to be positive, it's fated event, we cannot control. However, it's going to oppose fixed star sheet, and it's also, which is discordant, it is actually some kind of tragedy as well, and Saturn as well. So we're going to talk about that. How can it unfold? And I want to actually, if you're new to my channel, I am really obsessed with asteroids and fixed stars because it's giving an extra layer for our interpretation. I really love mundane astrology. And also I always going to mention each individual signs. However, right now I want to a little bit more talk about the axis energy, and I want to go through the houses, not necessarily the signs, but obviously if it's going to happen in your first house, then you are a Pisces rising. So obviously most of us and who is watching astrology channel knows that and has that kind of knowledge. And I might even going to mention that. Um, and when I'm analyzing, then I'm going to tell you a little bit of technicality as well, usually, or show some kind of slideshow as well. But the technicality is we are always interpreting actually the Virgo energy over here. So we talk about keywords and archetypes, right? So that's what we need to do. At this moment, I just want to show you something. And this slide, I haven't done it. It is actually Michael Alampi. I have to give the credit for him. And he going to be my guest on my channel. He is actually a human design astrologer. He is really great. But I just wanted to show that for you. Let me do this and let me share something with you. Share just for a little bit of technicality over here. Okay, share. And I'm going to do this blue screen for a second. So what you have to actually see over here, let me see if I can go at all anywhere. Okay, so that is Michael's slides over here, and I'm sharing it. So what is it? The solar eclipse, what we are talking about, just major, well, minor technicality when the moon actually conceals the sun from the earth, right? Okay, this is something, usually it is affecting us 6 weeks before and after very intensively, but usually it can affect you for 18 months, but 6 months is also intensity as well with the eclipses. So the solar eclipse is ending when there is going to be a lunar eclipse in Virgo, and it's going to be actually in March 2026. So the theme of Virgo going to end over there, right? And it is a new seed. It is a new directions, right? It is it is something which is a fated event, but it is going to become positive. So here it is what he did. This slide I really like, and you can actually, if you are visual, you can see that how is it affecting the Earth, and why is the sun is like eclipsed out because of the moon is the between. And the lunar eclipse is when the moon phases in the Earth shadow. So, okay, that is something to do with realignment. It is fated, it's letting go of something, restructuring something, right? So here it is what you need to see. And I'm going to stop sharing. All right, we're going to put that down. Actually, I made a slide for you, which is I'm gonna share. Let me see, where is my slide? Okay, here it is. And it is also a little bit of technicality, what we're going to learn about, like it is always coming with the nodes. So the eclipse always strictly connected with the nodes. Let me see here. This one, I think so. Okay, yes. Okay. Can I show that? Hmm. Okay. All right. So this is the slide that I wanted to share for you. All right. And that is the connected with the lunar nodes, obviously, right? The nodes are always going in retrograde motion, except a very short period they can go direct, but it's usually 1 to 5 days, and it is an opening gate karmically for us. All right. And then it shows, who is going in ecliptic, and it's always oppose each other, the north node and the south node, always in axis energy. So that's why we have right now Pisces and Virgo axis, right? So, for example, Rahu and Ketu, that is the dragon in the sky. And many times mythologically, we also have to talk about the belly of the dragon, because it's symbolizing in the sky like an eight, like an infinity sign, and the middle where they are crossing, actually that's the stomach of the dragon, and it's very, very important. Also, a lot of people doesn't talk about that, but they're mirroring each other's, right? Letting go, south node and north node is to start something. That is where you have to aim, and where that is your purpose in life. That is a new beginning. That is something what you need to learn. And obviously the tail of the dragon that you need to shed. And the eclipses is in 18 years cycling around, because that is a synodic cycle as well. And every 18 years, they're going to return to the same sign. So we haven't had that Virgo and North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo in 18 years, but 9 years ago we had North Node in Virgo and South Node in Pisces, right? Because axis energy. Uh, all right, so that's what it is over here. And then, like I also write, what does it mean, the North Node? But we already talked about that. That is invitation, that is growth. Actually, North Node is Jupiterian in flavor, and South Node is Saturnian in flavor, which is released, and it is ripening. It's matured enough to let it go, or, like for example, matured enough to get published something. And also, it is, something to do with the consequences of the previous actions. For example, nothing is good and bad over here. You have to know. We need to go through this, and as I said, it's phases in our life, and we have to go through this, and it's karmic. It's fated event for sure. All right, the North Node eclipse is opening doors, right? And it is like a new opportunity. And the South Node eclipse is closing doors, right? It is something which is like a long-term payoff, which is, as I said, a mastery over here, and clears also attachment. And here it is, the type of the eclipses. I also wanted to talk about the technicality a little bit, how visible that, and it's also very important where you can see the eclipses from Earth. And then you can check that on the timesanddates.com because of that is very important because that country is going to be really affected by the eclipse, the aftermath of the eclipse. So you always have to check it when you do analysis, right? So we have the total eclipse, lunar or solar eclipse when they are totally covered. We have the annular, which is actually you see like a ring of fire around them. We have the partial eclipse when it is not covering all the way, right? And we also have the other one when we are not covering, it's barely covered over here, and that's the penumbra lunar eclipse. And listen, guys, also we have partial eclipse, not partial eclipses. Oh my God, I forgot. The one when the axis is already start to move or the eclipse already start to move. I'm going to remember that word. Because next year, 2026, the North Node going to go to Aquarius and the South Node going to go to Leo, right? But um, but only from July 26. And at the beginning, we still have, like Pisces and Virgo axis, but on September 17, when we have the Chinese New Year of Fire Horse, we already going to have an eclipse and it's going to be in Aquarius, right? So yes, we also had to talk about that a little bit. Yes, and they are always coming in sets. So if you have the North Node eclipse, actually, the Pisces eclipse, for example, you had it in the lunar, well, the North Node is in Pisces, but the lunar eclipse happened in Pisces as well. If you have it in the fifth house, then right now the solar eclipse you're going to have in the 11th house. That's what we have to understand. It's coming in axis energy opposition all the time. All right. And it's also, I wanted to talk a little bit about here with the cycles, the Metonic and the Saros cycle as well. And the Saros cycle, actually, it is 154 years, but the shorter version is, because it's moving 10 degrees every single time, every 18 years. So, for example, it is 18 years and 11 days, the Saros cycle. And the Matanic is 19 years, for example. All right. And the cycles actually going to reveal the long arc behind the whole entire events. Okay, so here it is. We're going to have this cycle started, like the shadow cycle 154 years ago, but the Metonic cycle started in 2006, and the other one was in 1987. This particular lunar eclipse. So the Virgo and the Pisces eclipse Metonic cycle started. One was in 2006, and the other one was actually in 1987. All right, that's only you have to know. So I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to get rid of this, and then we can talk a little bit about the energy, right? What we wanted to talk about. So Virgo right now, because it rules the sixth house, and sixth house anything to do with work, service, for others, daily habits, your pets, small pets, anything to do with burnout from work as well, your health, your digestion system, your daily routine, anything to do with military services, or also it is actually representing the union, who is actually protecting the workers' union. And private hospitals as well. Pisces is public hospitals, and Virgo is private hospitals. It's also private insurance and your work insurance. If your employer going to give you some kind of insurance, pay some kind of insurance after you. Yes, the union workers, anything to do with rental properties as well. And if you believe it or not, it's also soulmate as well. And then you also have to know the keywords of Mercury. Mercury it's an inner planet, and it is very fast. It's never um, further than 23 degrees behind the sun, and Mercury representing communication, Mercury representing sales, anything to do with understand the ability to understand matters. It's also grade school, it's also journalism, it's infrastructure, car, roads as well, your phone, your internet connection, your workshops. If you are teaching anything to do with grade schools, anything to do with teaching online, for example, it is the familiar around you, the marketplace, for example, your neighborhood, because rules the third house as well. So Mercury, it's stocks, retail trade, anything to do with tech startups and exchanges as well, right? And also payment processor. And Mercury also the petty thief as well. So Mercury is mischievous, right? Fast and mischievous as well. All right. So, but how can it actually turn out for us this eclipse right now? And don't forget, we were talking about that, right? It's going to oppose Saturn, and Saturn is the Lord of Karma. And Saturn went back to Pisces, and it's also 29 degrees. So this is a very karmic event for us, for the collective. When we are talking about mundane astrology, right? And to actually translate mundane astrology and how can it actually unfold for the collective, we need to understand it is not only the keywords that you have to know and try to brainstorm and put it together, but also always check the news and what's going on geopolitically and weather related, situation around the world, and go back to historical parallel. And I have to mention and give credit for someone. I love Jessica Davidson. She is only writing and she's a mystic. She has a lot of books, but right now, recently, I just got a letter which is explaining she's burned out and she cannot continue right now and she's exhausted and she just has enough because she did it for 20 years and like hopefully her health is going to get better. But I saw that with a lot of people happening. Kelly Rosano, I don't know if you guys remember, she was dyed her hair red, and she was very low. She was a lot of Aries energy, and very funny also. She was in her 50s, 60s, did Western tropical astrology whole sign as well. And the other one was Brack. She was Barbara. Someone moved to Greece. Brack, someone painted all the time, an older lady, and she also had a major injuries. And I don't know if you know that or not, but recently we lost multiple astrologers. But one of them was my favorite. He was a British guy, actually, because he was in his 40s already, but because I started to watch him when he was just a young dude. He's Gregory Scott, and he died in apnea, in his dreams. But that was a huge, devastating information for me. But like astrologer gets burnout, but I just got sidetracked, and I'm sorry about that. But Jessica Davidson did a lot of researches, and I used her historical parallel many, many times because of she already did the research. So, and I was on her community. So I was reading, and I did my own researches, obviously, and I'm always adding it and changing. But she is an amazing human, and she did a lot of research. So I just wanted to mention her and give her credit. All right. So, but the other thing is what we need to talk about. That yes, it's going to happen. And it's a new moon. It's a new moon on steroids, right? Because it's a solar eclipse and it's very karmic, as we said. So for the collective, we're going to go through a breakthrough. And Saturn is in retrograde right now. So Saturn is actually also in a sign of water sign where he can be very, very frustrated, right? And Saturn also is Chronos, and Saturn is not only karma, but Saturn also representing, building materials and lands, for example. So it could bring in some kind of mudslide, obviously, or it could be like land is underwater, or it could the energy, because of we have to also talk about the Neptunian energy over here, because Neptune and Jupiter rule Pisces, and this eclipse is opposing, and the axis is in Pisces anyway, you know. It is anything to do with, for example, submarines, Saturnist submarines, or it could do some kind of train, because Saturn also locomotive. It could bring in some kind of train issues, or less tragedy with train, because of Saturn is on fixed star sheet, and actually its risk. It is a very, very heavy energy, that fixed star. It's not just discord, but tragedy as well, and storms, as well. So the opposition could create something like that. But the Saturnian energy itself, it is heavy on everyone. And then we have to also try to check the mundane themes over here, which is, uh, it could be something to do with public health system and hospitals. Obviously, the axis energy. Are we going to move from public system to private system? Or what about the insurances? For example, in the US, we have a totally broken health system. This is a tragedy over here. We also have to check the drug cartel and the big pharma, which I call actually the biggest drug cartel ever on earth. So, because there could be some kind of capturing, Saturn is seizing something, and it could be someone in big pharmas like insurance companies, they're going to have a fallout, or it could be something to do with drug cartel as well. So, there could be a war against some kind of, and I mentioned that. Previously, a year ago in Lada's videos, guys. So yes, there could be something like that. And anything to do with weather-related and water-related infrastructures, for example. Because of this is a solar eclipse, we might going to hear about something with flood control, also on the offshores. How can they save the cities from tsunamis and for example, hurricanes? And also, we're going to learn a lot more about seed control, cloud seeding as well, not seed control, cloud seeding. And how we going to have, for example, outlets from the rain after storm, so it's not going to create flash floods. And we're going to have some kind of coastal defenses. So that is going to be in the headline when you're gonna watch the news. So this is actually very positive, because let's face, even if it is going to oppose Saturn and shit, it's still going to bring in positive after the negative, right? So, for example, we're going to hear about insurances, repricing insurances. So maybe we're going to have some kind of, because everything is broken, inflation, tariff, whatever, and then they need to find a way to reprice insurances. So it's gonna be more affordable, or it's going to be mandated in many places. You're going to learn about hospitals, for example. Some countries going to get rid of and close a lot of hospitals. That's what's happening in the US. And other countries like Canada and then Mexico is building like 2,000 hospitals. So this is crazy. It's beautiful. It's amazing. But, because they want their population to be healthy. On the other thing, anything to do with hygiene, because Virgo also, that is like health and daily routine. We're going to know something, or we're going to learn something about hygiene. It could be some kind of water scarcity, maybe the water is not clean in certain cities or areas, right? Or it could be some kind of disinformation about health, which, but Virgo eclipse going to demand a fact, and it's going to report the conflicting information. So Virgo not going to let it go, and Virgo not going to allow the lying and misinformation information and the mislabelings. But there are going to be some kind of standards going to change around vaccination, about global vaccination, about anything to do with also hygiene as well, just what I said. And the labor and logistic as well, because there could be some kind of negotiation with blue collar strikes. For example, they're going to start to strikes because they are losing their health insurance, or something to do with sanitation and work. Environment, it's maybe not safe, or it's maybe not clean enough. I believe Amazon workers also going to go to strike because Bezos is not paying them, and that's what oligarchy does, like they are accumulate all the money and just grab, and then the average people is losing their position, and going down and down, and they barely can afford their food, not to talk about insurances or healthcare, or good education for the children. So it could happen, obviously. So there could be some kind of you know like issues with labor, and we are not going to work until you fix this and this and this. So definitely there could be also some kind of recalls of rice and pasta, guys, or seafood, because of it's the axis. Saturn is right, and shit is in Pisces, that is kelp. It is anything to do with sea moss, for example, anything to do with fishes, farm fishes, even in the ocean they are farmed. And it could be some kind of recall over there because of its create E. coli, or some kind of major outbreak could come in, right? And then if you see the market, because of, Saturn is in Pisces, ruled by Neptune. Saturn is deflate and Pisces is inflate, but they are very close to each other. So it's going to go like very volatile, the market, right? And what does Neptune rules? Neptune rules drugs, Neptune rules oil and natural gas as well, right? And glamour and movie, for example, and rich people and the singers, like famous singers. So there could be some kind of issue around them, for example. But Saturn in Neptunian era want to actually bring some kind of structure in, but Neptune still in illusion, still in, like the glasses on the rose quartz glasses over there. So it is like a little bit confusing. One day, for example, SPX, so S&P 500, it's going to go high, and next day, the recent administration going to do some more tariff on Brazil or whatever, and it's going down again. You could see the coffee, it's became like tripled right now, the price of coffee. I know that because I'm a coffee addict. And why? Because we put a lot of tariff on Brazil, obviously. And so we're going to see this kind of situation. And I'm going to also talk about later on the market shifting, guys, and also the ideologies. And because of Neptune Saturn next year, when it's going to get exact together in Aries, it is a war, some kind of war is coming in, third war. It's already started a long time ago, so we already in it. Obviously, if you are watching at my channel, but that it's going to be another market manipulation over there. Yes, but right now it could bring in some kind of recall, right? And this is also something around a war around natural gas and oil, as I said. So that's why the recent administration is poking Venezuela. And the other thing is also, you have to know Gaza and Palestinian areas. by the water. They have $600 billion worth of natural gas, guys. Obviously, we know why we went in Iran. And no, actually, Iraq. We know what's going on with Iran as well. Uh, and we are poking the bears over here, so there is going to be a shift. And with my market analysis, you're going to understand where to invest and how to save money, and it's gonna help you a lot. Yes, but as I said, right now, this is gonna happen. Anything to do with strikes at service work and healthcare, right? And or Amazon, that's going to be big strike over there. Why? Because Amazon trucks, for example, they might going to have robotic trucks and they're going to let go a lot of people. Obviously, it could happen as well because during this time we still have Pluto Uranus trine, so and we will have it for the next 3 years. Obviously, that is going to AI centered everything, and that's what's gonna happen. Yes, but on the other hand, Virgo eclipse and the solar eclipse also could bring in something in spotlights like biotech and like anything to do with data because Mercury also data analysis as well and supply chains as well, guys. It's opposing Saturn, so there could be some kind of issues with supply chain, but it's not necessarily issue, but because of the tariff, obviously prices are going high and so high. That's why it's not going to be affordable for most of the people, right? All right. Anything to do with shipping on water. And I assume because Saturn is also a submarine, right? And then there going to be some kind of threat of submarine or nuclear submarine. And I already know Russia has a submarine very close to Cuba right now. It's giving a lot of supply for Venezuela if they need to protect themselves. And the Venezuelan government, they have 4 million people who can go to war. I mean, like military. So they have a strong military. And plus, the cartel is over there. And I mean, it is pretty dangerous to poke Venezuela. And it's absolutely illegal as well. All right. But the other thing what we need to look for, anything to do with agriculture, because Virgo rules the stomach and the food system, right? So we're going to check the purity. We're going to check, yes, because of Saturn and shit is opposing. So what about the rice? Do we have microplastic in it, for example? Oh, all right. And we going to also, the labeling gonna be very, very important because Mercury is data and what is on it. So it's gonna go under magnifying glass and spotlights to include everything and meet the standards. It's going to be very, very important. Obviously, on social media, they're going to be, oh my God, bless me what's going on over here. But could be some kind of illusion, delusion, and misinformation and fraud and rumors, or not necessarily fraud and rumors, but it will be said it is fraud and rumors, and they're going to censor. Saturn is censorship, right? So we're going to censor a lot of people. Mercury, what rules Virgo, it's also stand-up comedy, for example. So obviously, what we have over here, it could be something to do with stand-up comedies. They are censoring stand-up comedy, this free speech, for example, during this time. Let me just check something over here again, bring up my chart for myself, and I'm going to go on the eclipse day, okay? Because I want to see what is Mercury's position. I think let me see. So it's going to be the 23rd. Sorry. All right. We do have, yes, uh, 21st, we have the eclipse. Um, 29 degrees. Okay, yes, 29 degrees. And then let's see in Virgo, where is Mercury? So Mercury is in Libra already. So Mercury is seeking for fairness. Mercury is seeking for alliances, and like in relationship, it's contract as well. But Mercury is seeking for collaboration during this eclipse, and definitely legal matters. So it's because of the ruler of the eclipse is in Mercury. So that is equality, fairness in Libra, anything to do with legal matters, anything to do with friendship and alliances, but also representing open enemies as well. So that's why I just wanted to check right now what's going on. But that's what it's gonna do. For example, it's going to seek for contracts. It's going to seek for countries, for example, new alliances and sign contract with new alliances. What is happening during this year? You know, like for example, Mexico, Canada, Venezuela, they all want to have their own brands right now, Brazil, whatever, because of the tariffs and the craziness in the US. And they're going to become new alliances over here, right? It's going to be formed new alliances and new enemies around the world. All right. So we're going to go one by one with the eclipse. So if it is happening in your first house, right, the eclipse. So if you have a Virgo rising and Pisces is in your seventh house, that is your axis right now for this eclipse. And what's going to happen in your first house with this eclipse, you're going to have to reboot your identity. For example, you're going to have a new look, a new name, a new brand for your company, some kind of new title. You might going to move. You can actually do something with your body, right? Anything to do, start a new diet or a new training plan. Or it is also your work environment could also change a little bit. You can get some kind of skill going to get polished, some kind of new certification and sharpening your tools, for example. And for example, you're also going to do clarity, boundaries as well. You're going to put very, very strict boundaries. Yes. And so the routines are changing, but it's going to serve you. And what you will have to let go, the mirroring, the where is your ascendant, Virgo, it's in your first house. The mirroring is the descendant, anything to do with collaboration, legal matters, partnership, one-on-one partnership. That is your VIP followers also, if you have YouTube channel, for example, or your clients as well, open enemies. So that is a karmic reset over there for you guys. Something is dissolving in a partnership, right? A soul contract's going to shift over there with the Pisces eclipse previously. Anything to do with learning my lessons. I don't want to be codependent anymore. And even in love, I know who am I and I'm changing and I don't want to be codependent. And also, you are going to see more clearly the other person, your significant other, your friend, for example. But also, it could bring in some kind of spiritual collaboration, something with creativity. However, it could also dissolve that as well. And also, a legal matter could end right now. The commitment to something, it's ending, right? All right, if you actually have in your second house and eighth house, the Virgo eclipse gonna happen in your second house, and Pisces in your eighth house, then for example, then your budget is going to change, right? You can get actually a new script. Your rates could get raised. You're going to get a increase in your salary, for example. You can also monetize a skill, right? And it could be something with you going to have new packaging, new pricing, right? And it could be something to do with, and it is the Libra and Scorpio people. So, so for example, you're going to have anything to do with, let me see just a second because I have to get my astro. Okay, let me just a second here. Um, all right, I kept sneezing actually, and I kept I had to blow my nose, so I'm sorry. And actually, the second and eighth house, it is Leo rising. So, if you are a Leo rising, you're going to have the Virgo eclipse in your second house, and the Pisces eclipse going to be in your eighth house. So, yes, that is anything to do with your budget, your subscription, all right? Anything to do like increase rates and coming up with a new pricing, new packaging. And it could be actually very positive for you because you can have a new skill, a new gift, and you can monetize that. It could also bring in some kind of beautiful bling bling for you, or some a piece of art, for example, which value a lot, right? You can also to start a saving account as well, or maybe you're going to take profit out from your crypto, right? And also, it could be, as I said, some kind of side hustle, or you learning some kind of skills right now, and it could be something to do with bookkeeping and how to save money. So you're really going to be focused on that, right? You don't want to actually chaos. You want to understand how the financial works working. And you have the Pisces, you had the Pisces eclipse in your eighth house, and next year you're still going to have that. It is like letting go of a debt, for example, refinancing your house, getting some kind of forgiveness, maybe in loan forgiveness, something like that. You can also get an inheritance in anything to do with insurance claim, a prenup, for example, or if you divorce, you are getting the settlement in right now. But it could also bring in some kind of sexual healing, especially if you've been abused or if you've been in a relationship where intimacy was some kind of martyrdom. And it also could be it's bringing in opportunity if you had hacked or identity theft to get rid of that kind of karma right now. And it is also some kind of occult vibe as well, and you can get transformed that. So it's good for you guys. All right. If you are a Cancer rising, Sun and Moon, it's going to happen in your third and ninth house, right? The axis is the third and ninth house for the eclipse. The solar eclipse is in your third house. Third house, anything to do with communication, anything to do with neighborhood, short distance traveling, anything to do with your application, with your writing habits. So you can take some kind of microcredentials, like some kind of short courses, right? Or you're going to start a journal, or you're going to start a book, and you can accomplish within half year and getting published. You can actually clean up all your website and restart it. You are also going to get some kind of it could be like you getting closer to local people and siblings and neighbors and communicate more, or being part of local activities as well. Yeah, obviously communicate more, and you can monetize your communications, for example, right? Um, it's clear speech. It is like you are very sharp right now. You're capable to focus. If you have ADHD or something like that, you might going to find a supplement which is actually working for you. Sorry, I still keep wiping my nose. All right, and then the ninth house, anything to do with your belief system. You get letting go of a philosophy, a faith, for example, it's going to change, and it's going to go under reformation. And it could be also something to do with your travel visas or international times, like maybe you were waiting for a long time to get maybe your citizenship, or there could be some kind of issue around citizenship for you guys and visas as well. But I can see, or maybe you have to change your major in university, or you're supposed to be a professor in university, but you get fired, right? It's craziness right now. If you say your opinion as a teacher, you get fired. It's censorship, guys. Saturn is opposing, it's censorship, right? But also that could be some kind of mystical study or religious study you can start as well. If it's gonna happen in your fourth house and 10th house, right, then you have a Gemini rising, sun and moon. And fourth house is your family, that is your real estate, that is your living situation. 10th house is honor, recognition, and career, guys. So the eclipse in the fourth house going to bring in some positive changes at your home area. Home repairs, for example, you can declutter everything and you can minimize. Virgo like minimize. They don't like chaos around. Anything to do with family health routine, you can invest in new supplements for the whole family or the family health routine. We're gonna go together to the marathon, or we're gonna go running every day with my spouse, or something like that. It could be something also with ancestry records as well. Maybe you want to do a DNA test, right? But also because of it is emotional safety as well, emotional hygiene is very important. So you can cut cords with toxic family members over here. And the kitchen area could become sacred, guys, for you. Why? Because of you can start meal prep to lose weight, or you're going to start, do some kind of herbal tinctures because you want to heal your gut. And gut is the second brain. It's very important. All the immunity is over there. And you also might going to have to move for half year because of it's a major renovation happening in your house, right? Or you can make something functional in your house, maybe because Mercury is recording, Mercury is communication, and social media could be also what am I doing? So you might going to have an office at home and you can have your labor over there, like create some kind of functional studio or office or something like that, and not to commute anymore, but work from home. And that is definitely. And if you have your Pisces in the 10th house, you're going to get rid of some kind of public calling, right? It is like some kind of vocation that doesn't serve you anymore. You are like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to work for the corporate. I don't want to be an attorney. I want to start my own business as well. But also, it could be like a spiritual leadership. If you are up to it, it could bring in something as well. So that could be important. And if you have it in your fifth and 11th house, just as I said before, then you have actually a Taurus rising sun and moon. And it is the fifth and the 11th house. The fifth house is anything to do with creativity, children, investment, and also with intimate relationship as well. So that's your lover as well. So anything to do with craft focus, creativity, for example, editing, and it has to be disciplined. You can get a manager or an agent, for example, during this time. You are really working on your kids' schedule, for example, or you upgrading their doctors and their health insurance, or you tracking your fertility, because fifth house could be also fertility as well, right? Anything to do with romantic partner as well. Maybe you're going to get a beautiful traveling joyous present from your lovers, or you may be going to do hobbies together, right? um, or learn something together with a lover. But you also going to check your risk management if you are an investor. It's really, really good right now because you are like, okay, this is going to be my exit point over here, and I'm not gonna become greedy because I don't want to lose. I'm gonna take a profit here and there. All right, and the Pisces is going to be in the 11th house, that is the old groups and they are fading away because of new soulful communities could come in, someone who you really connect morally. money, anything to do with collective dreams, fundraiser, and humanitarian project. Like you might going to actually pull away because maybe you find out those are false, and you don't want to be part of that anymore, or your online presence going to soften a little bit, and you're going to choose your own creativity and your own joy instead of a group joy. So you rather to be by yourself with a lover, with your children, than to go to events, for example, and just hustle and those kind of situation. Yes. All right. If it's in your sixth house and 12th house, then you are an Aries rising, sun and moon. And then the sixth house actually anything to do with diagnostics, trackers, and protocols, lab diagnostic as well, and health, So, for example, you're going to invest in a new watch which is tracking your insulin, tracking your heartbeat. I mean, all the smartwatch does it right now, but maybe something very new to you. You're also going to clean up your workflow. You don't want to be overwhelmed. You're not gonna procrastinate. You're going to want to be on schedule and make sure everything is done and you can relax. You are very diligent and you're going to use better tooling. You're going to invest in new technology, for example, which is going to make your life easier. It could be something with pet care, so you might going to need to take your or have a pet insurance, and you're also going to set up client boundaries over here, not to get and prevent burnout, for example. Yes. Then you can actually adopt a pet, you can have a new soulmate, or maybe you're going to buy a rental property. You have to let go of 12 house matters in Pisces, guys, anything to do with detoxification, but it has to be digital, emotional, spiritual. It could be anything to do, get rid of some kind of addiction, which was sabotaging, some kind of self-sabotaging behavior. You can release, old grief or guilt also. You can go to retreats or some kind of writing workshops or things like that. But retreats could be really, really good. And you definitely need to rest more. That's very important. Meditate more. You can implement music, water, or anything to do with prayer rituals as well, because it's 12 hours, right, to recharge your batteries. If it's going to happen in your seventh and fourth house, we are changing right now. That is a Pisces rising sun and moon. And, the first house, well, the seventh house is actually Virgo. The eclipse going to happen over here. It's going to bring in for you new contracts, right? New collaborations, right? Or maybe you're going to get married or you're going to get engaged. It's going to bring in new VIP people. So, for example, you can go to also a mediation, like for a coach, a couple coach, and some kind of therapy together. Also, you need to protect your boundaries from a significant other. You need to, or even when you collaborate with someone as well, there has to be like, okay, how can I measure my own success? Not to give too much to other people, but still, try to balance the situation. And the eclipse is in your first house, the Pisces eclipse, the lunar eclipse was there, guys, and one more going to happen next year, August 28th, in 4 degrees. But it is something to do with you going to dissolve and reform your identity. You're going to have a new name, anything to do with aesthetic. You might want to have a facelift. And I have my sun in Pisces. I'm Sagittarius rising, but my sun in Pisces. And I do want to start to think about facelift, for example, but anything, maybe Botox, something with aesthetic, right? And because first house is your face, it could bring in some kind of radical change in your the way you represent yourself, right? You're gonna be more compassionate, not that definitely not perfectionist, because first house Pisces is not. They dream big, those are the archetype of the mystic and the healer, and the artist as well. And actually, you are going to look more like yourself and very authentic, and you're going to embody the artist, what is live within you. And actually, I guard you against escapism because over here, the eclipse, the lunar eclipse is like, okay, don't numb yourself. Don't use drugs or alcohol for numbing your pain. Use actually art to express yourself. But definitely, there is an intuitive shift and there is a lot of intuition coming up for you guys. And on the other hand, if you are Aquarius rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in your eighth and second house, but the eclipse is going to happen in your eighth house, the Virgo eclipse right now, the solar eclipse, which is forensic accounting and shared money, and something could leak actually in your eighth house. Maybe you were waiting for a research, maybe, or some kind of lab result, and it's coming up. Maybe you know right now who stole your money or identity theft, or anything to do with refinances. You can start to refinance. You can start something to do with estate insurance, for example, or sign a prenup, for example. It could be also good to sign a prenup right now. Um, and it could be also some kind of sexual healing as well. Definitely therapy, and you're going to be really drawn to occultism and mysticism and talking to death. Inheritance could come in, or some kind of amazing increase with finances if you have stock investment. And what you have to let go of the income, which is tied actually to, in the second house, which is tied to daily work and small income, but is not serving you anymore, right? There could be something to do with art. You maybe created an art or some kind of spiritual piece, and it's get released, and finally you get the money out from it, and you can let it go, right? But you have to change the way you are looking at finances. It is like, okay, do I worth this much? And you have to be more practical about that, and you have to be really, more generous about that. But definitely self-worth is coming from intuition for you guys, and through compassion and forgiveness, whatever you lost in the past. And even if it was an investment or some kind of bad habit, forgive yourself and move forward. All right, Capricorn rising, sun and moon, that is your ninth and the third house. All right, ninth house is going to be the Virgo eclipse, 29 degrees, opposing Saturn in your third house. So the eclipse itself, you can have some kind of structured study plan, anything to do with a deadline and you finishing it. You might going to finish a book writing, do your workshop, and you start to teach workshops or online. It could be also anything to do with you doing a new, you're going to be part of maybe a community. It could be a local community, or reconnect with a sibling or a neighbor who you had some kind of follow. It could be also something to do with your um, mm, what is that website, you recreate your website, right? And anything to do with oh no, that's the third house. Okay, so the ninth house is publishing. I'm sorry, and anything to do with fact checking, for example, the footnotes, very very important. And Virgo is over there for you, or legal matters, visas and citizenship you can get, and handle it easily. Anything to do with ethics as well, because ninth house is ethics as well, and walk your talk, like make sure you are preach what you live, or live how you preach, kind of situation over there. But definitely you can get in a new university, or it could be also a new philosophy coming in, publish a book, doing a YouTube channel, for example. So this is really good. And whatever I said before, the third house matters. It is the Pisces eclipse, what you need to release, for example, and finish the music and the poetry and getting it out, getting the message out, for example. Or, like mend the relationship through empathy, compassion, and forgiveness with a neighbor and a sibling. But you might just let go of them because there is nothing to mend over there. And if it is going to, you are Sagittarius rising, it's going to happen in your 10th house, the Virgo eclipse, and fourth house is the lunar eclipse happened for us guys. 10th house anything to do with our reputation and honor and reliability. So, it is like our reputation going to rise and you might going to have a lot more subscribers, followers, people going to invite you. You will be seen. You can do TED Talks, you can go red carpets, right? Anything to do with your role in public could change, and you're going to also check data as well, and you can get some kind of certification, maybe a doctorate, which is going to boost your authority. It's very important. Or you're going to become very political, for example. And also there could be something to do with services, but centered for leadership, right? You are the real leader right now, and you're going to become very, very visible. And the Pisces eclipse in your fourth house, you have to say goodbye for something. Maybe you're going to change house within 11 months and you're going to move most likely. It could be a bucket list place. It could be something nearby water. It could be something, like just a dream home to buy. But definitely it's a move over there. It could be also like letting go of an old person in your life. And it could be a mother figure, a grandmother figure, who is transitioning. And also there could be something to do with family forgiveness. And you might going to also use some kind of rituals as well. But you're definitely going to be really, really compassionate. But also I would say you need some kind of boundaries at home, with your children, with your family. If you buy a house, you're going to be pulled toward to lake or river or ocean. I just say that because of that is a lot of water. Or you might going to give a water feature, to your home, maybe a beautiful, what is that, water fountain. So it could be that as well. All right, and then Scorpio rising, sun and moon. It's going to be in your fifth and 11th house. Okay, 11th house going to be the Virgo eclipse. I don't want to, yeah, okay. The Virgo eclipse is in your 11th house. So anything to do with finding the right lover, the right people, taking time with, oh no, that is actually the 11th house is the Virgo. So anything to do with finding the right tribe for myself, surround myself with good friends, having my dream accomplished. And actually, it could be a new dream coming in for you. You can start a startup, a volunteer project, anything to do with a crowdfund, anything to do with a new tribe, anything to do with marketing as well. You're going to be more wise and more productive as well. And the Pisces eclipse in the fifth house, it could be like, all right, maybe if you have a lover, you will need to let go because maybe you are married, or, it could actually romanticize some kind of relationship, and maybe maybe it is just a platonic love, but also it could be something about pregnancy, IVF, and children. You're going to put that under a spiritual lens, and you're going to say, I'm not going to hire a surrogate because I'm more spiritual. And if it is not happening on my own way, I just don't want to have it. I might going to adopt later. That's it. But definitely it is like something to do with music, photography, filmography. It could be accomplished. And if you are taking risk in investment, careful because the lunar eclipse could bring in some kind of loss there. If you are a liberalizing sun and moon, guys, it's going to happen in your sixth and 10th house, right? And the 10th house is actually, let me see, where is your no, it's in the sixth and 12th house. 12th house is going to be the solar eclipse, and it's cleanups over there. It is like achieving something in art, in music, in filmography, photography. You can get relieved and released from hospitals or retreats or addiction centers or prison or shelter because right now you are finding and you can afford your home, right? It could bring in also a work in these areas as well. Hospitals, retreats, and shelters. You might going to open a boutique hotel. It could be something to do like I want to start to meditate and breath work because I want to have a meditation room or my I'm going to change my bedroom to become zen and peaceful. Yes, and if there was some kind of self-sabotaging behavior, you get definitely rid of that. It could also shine a light on a hidden enemy, and you're going to be able to confront. The hidden enemy also could come from work because the axis energy in the sixth house in Pisces for you guys. So anything to do with if you had a work, maybe an agent with film and music and you will need to let them go, or a caregiver as well. It could be also you might going to have to let go a pet, an animal because they are old or they are sick and you have to honor the way of living and the way of death, and somehow that is what you have to let go and forgive yourself for that. It is also guards against, co-workers and rental property, like roommates or um, uh, yes, people like that, colleagues, because of you have to put boundaries. But if you're working in an office, you can put some kind of anything to do with sea salt, to absorb the negative energy because that's Piscean energy. Anything to do with lymphatic support for health and hydrotherapy or swimming could be really good for you right now, guys. But yes, you can clear your area to absorb salt, sea salt, or black salt. All right, and the last one, Virgo rising sun and moon, guys. It is go. Oh, we already talked about that. Actually, I started with that. So yes, so we finished it over here. And that is how the eclipse is going to work for you guys. And it is bringing a lot of positive energy, so we don't really have to be careful from it, or yes, or warned from it. But it is opposing Saturn, as I said, and it could and sheet as well, so it could bring some kind of negative energy. That's why I wanted to talk about the axis energy in this case. You know, all right, share my video, please subscribe and like and comment anything. Thank you. As I said, it's going to help me a lot. I want to go through and I want to get rid of the negative things with the algorithm. There is a lot of censorship happening with free speech, as I said, so people are censored. So just please share it for every single platform you are on, Facebook, Instagram, my channel. I would really appreciate it. And as I said, if I see it, I'm going to be very good to you because I'm going to give you some present. All right. Talk to you guys soon. I'm coming with the market analysis really soon. Bye for now.